Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Stahl and I'm the lead trainer at Perfect Life. Now, I'm here to talk to you about complexity. Complexity by Dave Snowden. Not that Snowden. This is a different Snowden, an old geezer from Wales. And he has a fantastic framework for understanding complexity. It's called the Cynefin framework. It's spelled not the way you think, because it's Welsh, because he's from Wales. Okay. Let's break it down. You have actually 4 different types of domains that you move about in. You have the simple thing. That's the simple domain where stuff is really, how to put it, simple. These are things you've done so many times. You have your standard operating procedures, your super best practice. You find something, you categorize it as simple. This I've seen before. You plop it down here in the simple domain and you just execute. And you know exactly how to do it. You put the round holes and round balls and the round and the holes and the squares and the pegs and you get the point. It gets more complicated when you move up to the domain that is called, well, complicated. Complicated domain means that the experts are somewhat disagreeing, but not on the fundamentals. If you're building a house, you probably have the experts saying it needs to be a wooden house, made by wood. Because wood is brilliant from this and this perspective. Now, there are other people, experts, advocating perhaps rock houses. It should be built on solid stone. Yes, that's fabulous. Solid stone is better than wood because of this and this. But then the wood experts say, yes, but you haven't thought about the And then they disagree. The experts disagree, but they agree on the fundamentals, like gravity, stuff like that. Or that, yes, there's a trade-off between how well it will last and how much it costs and stuff like that. And all of this means that as a decision maker, when it's simple, you just execute. When it's complicated, well, then it's complicated. You have to decide on a certain forks in the road. If you want to build a car, it's not complex. It's complicated. And we need to build a car. It means some expert will say, you should build a sports car, or it's a 2-seater, or it's a 4-seater, or it's an 8-seater. Now, they all agree on some basic things, like you have to decide if it's going to be electric or a hybrid version, or it's going to be diesel or whatever. But they agree on that. There are some decisions that need to be made, and you have to make some tough decisions. But you call in the experts, and then you make the decision. Now that's complicated. And then you have the domain that's called complex. When things are complex, the experts do not agree on the fundamentals. They will soon, but not right now, because right now it's complex, and you all know exactly what this is. Think about when the global pandemic started to roll out across the world. That was complexity on all levels. You had individuals not knowing what to do, turning to experts, and there were experts saying you should do this, do that, you should have face masks, you shouldn't have face masks, you should do this, you should keep 1 meter distance, no, 4 meters distance. It's probably contagious over air, or maybe not, we don't know. So on individual levels, you didn't really know because the experts were contradicting each other. If you look at a company level, you were in a management team and you said some experts say that we should close everything down, some experts say that we should keep every factory open because this is just a normal, we don't know. And our co-workers, they're looking at us in the management team, expecting us to decide, but the experts are contradicting each other. If you looked on a national level, it was the same thing. What do? Should we shut down the airports? Is that okay? Is that a thing? They're doing it in that country, but they are saying that there's no point shutting down airports. Are schools driving the contagion? Some countries, in Sweden, they don't, should we? So the politicians didn't know. They wanted to act forcefully and, strongly, the way that politicians kind of enjoy doing. But the experts were contradicting each other. I promise, the next time we have a global pandemic, there will be a playbook. And then there will be a toolkit. And they will say, okay, how much flack will we take if we close down those international airports? Now, if we have this type of vaccine passport that we enforce, well, how much will that? Okay, yeah, good. You will have the toolkit and you will also have the playbook. Now, it will not be perfect. It will probably be complicated, but not complex. So the tricky thing is that we work a lot in the complex domain. Now, in the complex domain, what happens is that we cannot find the answer. If we go Google on, we will keep getting more data. We will not find the answers because the experts are still contradicting each other. And we go through these phases quite often, like social media. Should we market ourselves on social media? In the beginning, people said, yes, everything that you got, everything. Put it right there, influencer strategies. And then you had other experts saying, no, don't put a penny on influencer marketing. Now, here's the thing. Eventually, the experts will agree. It will go to being complicated, and then you create maybe a mix, or maybe you go all in, or maybe you do nothing. Those are just tough decisions. But when we are in a complex domain, what we have to do is we have to try several strategies at the same time. We have to try different small strategies, and for each of those strategies, we need an amplifying strategy and a dampening strategy. So if it's working, we should go harder. If it's not working, we should very unsentimentally close it down. So different strategies, parallel strategies, trying more things, not putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, the problem with this is that it requires a lot of psychological safety. That's why psychological safety is so important now, because we cannot afford doing mistakes here and not knowing that they are mistakes. We should try, experiment, and fail intelligently in the domain of complexity, but we cannot afford trying out different strategies and having people in a room knowing it's doomed to fail, or seeing that it is failing but not having the courage to speak up. That's why psychological safety is so important nowadays, because more and more of leadership is in the complex domain. More and more of your strategy work is in the complex domain. There's also a fourth domain down here, and it's called chaos, or just simply chaotic. Now, if you're looking at simple as a domain, then you have best practice. You know how to do things. If you look at complicated as a domain, you have good practice. You don't have best practice, but you have good practice. You have some tough decisions to make. You have to call in some experts. Now, if you're in the complex domain, the experts do not agree. So you have emergent strategy. You have strategy that you're trying out and you're seeing it unfold, and mid-stride, you have to be strong enough as a leader or as a management team to deal with that situation, to amplify or dampen a strategy, and to do that unsentimentally, so that strategy is emergent. In the chaotic situation, you just act. You don't know if it's the right thing, you just act to try to stabilize the situation. You close down a factory, or you open 15 factories. You don't have a clue, you're just trying to respond immediately to a situation that is a crisis, that is chaotic. For example, if there's a saber, is it some sort of tiger that just steps into a conference room, people will not stop to reflect and think about different countermeasures or clever, who has experience from different tiger situations, just so that we have small breakout rooms before we deal with a tiger. No, when there's a tiger in the room, you react. You jump somewhere behind a table, hoping that the tiger will chew through enough people to be full and then not hungry when it finally sees you. You don't think, is this a good table to hide behind? Is that a better table? You just react instinctively. So, chaotic, you just react so that you can buy yourself time to figure out if this is a simple, complicated, or complex domain, which will then advise and inform your next strategy. So that's it. The Cynefin framework. It's fucking brilliant. You should try it out.